Hello, Mocha Pinata here. In Final Fantasy XIV, there is, housing. I'm currently sitting inside of my FC's house. Um, so I I enjoy making money in games. I played WoW for a little while. I paid my sub with WoW Gold. Final Fantasy, you can't pay for your sub with Gold or Gil, but I still enjoy making it. I am an Omnicrafter. I have all the gatherers, all the crafters leveled up to 80. My specialists sit on Goldsmith and Blacksmith. I have one more. Haven't decided what I want to put it on yet. But there's just something about having money in games that entices me. Um, so housing in Final Fantasy, it sits that it's hard to get into, and I went to buy a house, and this is a little bit of a rant, but I was going to buy a house. There's a Final Fantasy housing subreddit, and I was browsing and I came across this guy, and he was selling his house on my server, and in Mist, and I prefer Mist. Uh, Obviously, it's self preference, but I can actually show you where the plot was. Uh, let me go over there. But again, it's hard to get into. It is very expensive, and I only have 10 million gil right now. I had 25, maybe 30 mil at the time, and I paid for this person's house. And again, the housing market in Final Fantasy is really hard to find one that's open. So when one opens, people gravitate towards it. I paid an amount of gil. I think it was 10 million. I paid this person 10 million gil to have a chance of getting this house. And that's the worst part about the housing market in Final Fantasy, is that you aren't even guaranteed the house unless you do it a very specific way. And I did not do it that way. The way you have to do it to guarantee the house is that you have to have a free company, and you set it as your free company house. And I was already a part of a free company. I didn't want to leave my free company, and I would have been okay to do it if you didn't have to have a certain level free company to do it. Say if I just popped out of my free company, went and made a free company, and just had a bunch of my friends in it. But this is the plot right here. It's on the beach. There's this plot right here. And they got sniped from under me, because what you have to do is when they relinquish the house, when they demolish their house, it's open to anybody for a hidden timer of in between, I think it's 30 minutes and 24 hours. And that's the worst part of this whole system. So what I did is I set up a macro on the Razor Synapse thing to hit 0, which selects the nearest thing to you, 0 again, which selects the thing that is currently selected, and then if you hit 0 again, it cancels it. But when you're actually up on the screen, it has, buy the plot, cancel. So you buy the plot, and then you hit 4 or 6, and that changes the menu you're selecting. So I set up a macro to do that over and over again while I was away from my computer. And I think technically that's against terms of service, but I already did it, so it doesn't really matter. So I set up that macro to do that, and I ended up not getting the house. It got bought out by a free company, and I didn't get the house that I wanted. I paid 10 million gil for. And I feel like it would be better if the system was you give said individual the gil or whatever you set up as your payment, and then they give you an item in their key items or something, and they give you a deed, so they don't relinquish the house. You just get the deed for the house. And I understand that the reason they have this system in place is because they don't want people buying and selling houses to make money off of. But I feel like that's not even a bad thing to have in your game. It opens up another market for people to engage in. And they want the housing to be like a permanent thing people buy, so they don't want people to sell it. But I just feel like that would be a better system overall, to just give somebody the gill and then give you the deed. And how my housing excursion actually went. So I spent time, I set up the macro, and then I got off my computer and I would check it every couple hours or something. Or I had a friend that was sitting at the plot as well, seeing how many people were there at the time, and telling me every so often. So my first plot that I actually bought, the one that I just showed you, that got bought out. So I hopped on the game and I was like, okay. So if they moved houses and that was the only way that they could have gotten the house immediately, and I didn't get it from my macro, they would have had to have moved houses. I went to go out of Mist, and that lets you go to the tabs where you can see where the houses are and go to somebody's house if you want to. So I found the one that they moved from, the empty one. So I did it again. But as you see, I'm sitting in my FE house and not my own house. I did not get it. Even through the macro, I think there was 3-4 other people sitting, waiting on it. And again, the system that Square Enix has in place right now is, I don't agree with it. And maybe that's just coming from somebody that has spent money on it and didn't get what they paid for, or they, what they wanted. And another thing is that there's content hidden behind housing. And I understand that the submarines, the adventures you send out from in your house, those are meant for SCs. But there's also gardening. And as somebody that crafts and gathers and makes money in the game, some things from growing things would make my life a lot easier. Like Cloud's Breath, that makes one of the chair mounts, and there's other various culinary and things you can get from farming that would just make my life easier, instead of having to go get it and then crafting this item into another item to get a different item. It's just, I really wanted a house for the farming, and to not pay this amount of money, 10 million gil is what I paid for, and then I would have had to spend another 375,000, which would have been fine if I got the house. But I dropped half of my gil to do this thing, to buy a house and have it to grow things and sit in while I'm waiting on queues and stuff, to not get it. And it just really kills me. I've gotten it past it now, but I'm making this video because maybe somebody else has my same feeling about it. And in the comments, tell me what you guys think about it. But I feel like it should be a deed that you transfer between a character after you're paid an amount of gil, or something else. I feel like it just needs to be changed. There shouldn't be a hidden timer that's random, that you should have to sit at a placard and spam until you get it. I think that is the worst system they could possibly have, and I'm sure somebody else feels the same way that I do. Again, if you wanted to leave a comment, tell me what you think about it, and maybe leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you would like to see more of this, and maybe leave a comment on something else you would like me to talk about. And if you would like, I do stream. I'm currently doing the Savage. I'm a little bit behind. I'm probably like a month behind, but I have Fulmination done. I'm working on Fura right now. If you wanted to come by and watch my stream, it's twitch.tv/monkeypinata, and I would really greatly appreciate it if you guys would follow that as well. But again, leave a like, subscribe, turn those notifications on, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.